Greetings, dear sister. This is Tyra Omilade, your goddess guru. And you know, I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. It's all about the empowerment and upliftment of women. When women are good, the world is good. Plus, we just want to be happy. All right. Sometimes it is really just about you. Okay. I was just pondering. So, this is a muse that I'm sharing with you all. I was just pondering my astrology and wanted to talk to you about why astrology is so powerful. I often hear people talk about, their human design, enneagram, um, you know, whatever all of these other personality profiles are about. Those are so good in helping you to understand why you do what you do. And, one of the things that I am a big proponent of is acceptance, especially self acceptance. And tools like that have definitely helped me to accept and embrace so much about who and what I am, even when other people are like, you're weird, or why are you doing that? So I'm 100% wholeheartedly for them. And of course, astrology, numerology, they do the exact same thing too. There's so much in, having a way to identify why you are the way that you are. And then, it enhances our life. We can use it to our advantage. Where those systems fail people, as I see it, is that those systems, as far as I know, don't have anything about what cycle am I in right now? Why is my life looking the way that it's looking? And what can I do about it? What is the mission that I have for myself right now? So I do want to tie this into those of us who have initiated into, say, for instance, an African traditional religion. Maybe you're a part of a goddess tradition, and there's these understandings of we are, you know, I really embody the energy of this particular goddess, this particular god, this particular deity. Because I know when I first started becoming a part of African traditional religion, it was sort of like, well, y'all, I'm ruled by Oshun. And so it was kind of like this way to embrace these parts of yourself. And a lot of these systems will have like the light side and the more challenging side, the more, advantageous side, and the side that's very much like when you are not at your best, this is what you will see. They're great at that, even with the African traditional spiritual way or whatever, Wiccan, whatever it is that you do to align yourself with the deity, we know the good and the bad of them, and we can see them in ourselves, right? But still, I was like, something's not working in my life. I know all of this, EFNTJ, whatever all that is. And I know that I'm a generator, and I know that I'm ruled initially, I was told I was ruled by Oshun, but when I actually initiated, I initiated into Yemoja. I mean, it's like I understand like the makeup. I understand my personality. I'm having a better understanding of my gifts and my talents, but life doesn't feel like it's working well. Maybe I even know my number from numerology. Okay, I'm a 9, I'm a 22. But I'm like, why is life not working for me? And it wasn't until I started better understanding astrology, which does the same thing. So many people are like, "Oh, I know I'm a Scorpio, or I'm an Aries, or whatever it is, and we just live out all of these archetypes, right? But life doesn't change, or sometimes life is challenging, and it's like I don't know what's going on. I remember, and I'm sure I told this story before I knew astrology. I think I was about 25, I mean 25, 45. And I go from being a woman who largely can function day to day, not always the best. Yeah, it's a story behind that, but largely could function good, pretty decent memory, especially little short-term things I needed to get done or whatever, to not being able to really it was like I wasn't all there. And I'm watching my life like, why does it feel like nothing is working for me right now? Why does it feel like everything is just coming apart and my mind just has so many blank spots in it? And I remember coming out of it. It was just like after a couple of years, all of a sudden, I came out of that time and I was devastated by it. But once I started studying astrology, I was like, I'm going to go see what was my astrology when I was in my mid 40s. And that's when I discovered it was a very challenging, once in a lifetime transit that I experienced. And had I known, then it would have helped me to understand the things that I needed to do in order to navigate that. And that is where all of this way of it's kind of like something is missing. Yes, we definitely need all of that that helps us to understand our personality, what motivates us, just all the different ways that we talk about it. But the part that's missing is the actual cycle that you're in. What is the mission? Why are things happening the way that they're happening? How can you best show up for life as it is happening? And there is this ability for a lot of us to, we could tap into, well, I'm in tune with spirit and I'm just following what, my spirit, my guides are telling me to do. But it's just so much easier if you just get a numerological reading. I'm not super deep in numerology, but numerology and astrology, get a reading to understand the cycle. I started using numerology before astrology. Never was super deep into it. And, I have taken deeper courses in it, but at some point it was sort of like light numerology is what I'll call it. And so I would know what year I was in and I would know what month I was in. I would always keep up with the year and the month, and it helped me so much, and it was just like everything was matching it. I would even sometimes forget to come up with whatever the number was that I was in for that, month, and I could just feel it, and then I would calculate my numerology, and I would say, "Boom, I knew it. I'm in fill in the blank type of month." But nothing has really grabbed my attention like astrology. And there's a lot of times where I keep up with my astrology pretty regularly, but sometimes it's just kind of like, okay, I kind of have an overarching understanding and I just kind of go on and live my life, right? But then there are times when I'm like something is off. It's like I can't get my feet under me or it just feels like everything's crumbling. I'm gonna call it bad astrology. I don't believe there's actually any bad astrology. But I do think there's challenging astrology. And so this is what I find it hurts my heart. I'm gonna be honest with you all because once I began to understand, I was like, if people really just knew their astrology, they would get why things look the way that they look. And then they could figure out this is how you're supposed to handle that. And it doesn't necessarily make it easier, but it feels way more purposeful and doable, and you don't feel like such a victim, and you don't feel so much like a failure as when we don't know what's going on, and it just feels like, you know, everything feels like it's going to hell in a handbasket. So, I just wanna give a quick example of what's happening with me that, I wanna share with you all. So it's actually the same transit, just with a different planet that is or a different place in my chart that this is happening. So the planet Neptune, if a Neptune transit could be amazing, or it could feel like it's wrecking your life, and that is what happened. Neptune interacted. That's what transit means. It means it's interacting with something. Two things are interacting. Three things. It could be more than one or two, but we'll just simplify it and just say two things are interacting with one another. And sometimes a transit, it feels good. It feels beneficial. It feels supportive. And then sometimes a transit feels very challenging or intense. And so Neptune is in a place of intensity for me. And, just imagine it's like me and Neptune, we're in the same room, we hip to hip every day. Neptune is the ocean, and it's you can think of a fog. A lot of times Neptune is gonna bring a fog, it's gonna bring illusion. It could take away your motivation, especially if it's connecting with a planet or a point in your chart that has a lot of energy to it. It could just take that, it could suck that energy away. And, Neptune is the ocean, so it dissolves. There's a lot of dissolution that can happen when Neptune is in this position of intensity. Now, I can do some beautiful things, but I'm just talking about this one interaction, which is a position of intensity called conjunction for those who know astrology. And so when Neptune was with my conjunct with my Mercury, that's why my mind left me. I couldn't function day to day. I couldn't remember anything. And it also Neptune takes away all your boundaries. I want you to think Pisces. The sign of Pisces is kind of known for having zero boundaries. And that's one of the reasons why um Neptune is one of the ruling planets of Pisces. And so it just took away dissolved my mind, and then it's like you can't see clearly, but it does require you to have a deep trusting faith. When we think of people who have blind faith, that's sort of like the negative. In a way, there could be a negative manifestation of it, but then there's this positive one where it's just like I have this deep trust in the infinite wisdom. I don't have to know all the answers, and everything is going to be taken care of me. And that is you have to kinda get in that posture because things truly feel out of your control. Just imagine being dropped in the middle of the ocean. You do not feel like you have control of the ocean. I was out in the middle of the ocean earlier this year, first time in my life, 53 years old. I was like, "Oh my gosh, the ocean is nothing to play with." Um so you kind of feel like that when you're dealing with Neptune. Things are truly out of my control. All I can do is just be in a deep place of faith and hope that everything is going to be okay. And try well, no, you have to trust that it will be. It's not even a hope with Neptune. And in miracles, it's a lot of miracles can come your way. It's a really spiritual planet, and so it'll bring spiritual experiences to you. And so when I had Neptune by my Mercury, it was a lot of miracles that happened because my brain was just not functioning properly. So many times I almost got in an accident. There are two intersections. This was when I was 45, 46. I am currently 53. Still to this day, when I drive through those intersections, I have to calm myself to not get a panic attack or get anxious because I've had a panic attack. And so let me put some respect on panic attacks. But I feel so much anxiety rise up in me. I have to take calm myself down and just say, we worked it out. Okay. I even feel emotional because my kids were in the car with me so many times where I almost got in an accident. And it was a miracle. Could just I just imagine the angels just held all the cars, stopped everybody as I would just go through red lights. It was one of the worst times of my life in that regard. I will say the other side of it was I had to eventually create systems to help me be able to function because my brain was just turned off because Mercury represents the brain. It was just turned off. But this is one of the reasons I'm making this recording today because even to this day, y'all hear the emotion that I have. I felt so wrecked But once I understood astrology and that was, it was a transit, then when it came back around or over my sun sign, I was so much more prepared for it. I had already started making plans on what I was going to do to change. The sun represents the career. What was I going to do to change things in my career? At the time, I was teaching dance and fitness. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go from teaching Zumba and bar to teaching water aerobics. I was taking myself from land to water because I thought, okay, well, if I do something that has to do with water, because my son is in Pisces and then Neptune was transiting my son, it's just a lot of water. I was like, let me take myself in the direction of water. But again, Neptune will dissolute. It's all about dissolution. It will dissolve stuff. It completely and totally dissolved my career. The pandemic hit, and I was out of teaching everything. I had just started teaching water aerobics and had already said, "I'm not teaching, the Zumba and the bar anymore." I think I had taught maybe 1 or 2, water aerobics classes, and everything got shut down. And when they reopened, I thought, "Shit, if you think I'm coming back, you got another thing coming." Because I needed my exit strategy. Even with the African dance, I was tired of it. I didn't wanna do it anymore. It just felt like wrecking my body. Um And so, yeah, that's what happened, and I accepted it. I was like, "Okay." Immediately, once I heard there was a shutdown, I put out an offer for readings. "Hey, I'm doing readings, y'all." It was a little mini reading offer, and right away, I made money doing what I know I was born to do, which is to do readings and, support people in this way. And, I had no idea that this pandemic was really and truly gonna just take me deeper and deeper and deeper into, because Pisces makes you just go everything goes hidden, not Pisces, Neptune, everything goes hidden, you can't see anything. And it's for me, it's Pisces also, but that's what happened, and I haven't even come out of it. I still spend so much time alone. But I accepted it. At first, I was like, "I used to be one of the most social people on the face of the planet," and then I just said, I think I'm supposed to be alone because of this Neptune on my sun, SUN." And, what began to happen is I was just like, "Okay, let me just be okay with always kinda being by myself," my husband and sometimes my kids are in and out or whatever, but, um just inordinate amounts of time by myself, and I just began to have, like, this healing begin to take place. It was a healing for my body, my mind, my spirit, my emotions. It has been one of the most healing things, and I think I would have struggled with it more if I didn't realize exactly what was happening. And so, I just kinda have the astrology where there's a lot going on in Pisces as well as, um, Pisces is across from Virgo. And my career point is in Virgo. And so, it left my sun, and then it moved to being opposite my career point. And I had totally forgotten it was gonna happen, but then it happened. And I started noticing a lack of motivation because you have to remember a big planet like Neptune, it is gonna transit your planet for a couple of years or your career point or your ascendant point. Ascendant has to do with like where you entered into this life. It is one of the most important places in your chart is how you know what your rising sign is. And so anytime anything like that gets transited by a big planet, it will be for a while. It's like, baby, I gotta be in here for the long haul. And to me, all of the personality tests and things like that, they don't account for that, honey, okay? Let me just say this right here, right now. Y'all need to be getting astrology readings so that you can understand these transits, especially the long ones. The short ones are so good day to day, but these long transits, you're gonna have to figure out how to make them work. So now the Neptune is transiting my career point. And at the same time, because if it transits your career point, it's also gonna transit what is called the home point. MCIC for people who know astrology. So it's gonna transit 2 points at one time that will change your life. See, when your career point or your ascendant point get transited, change gon' come. And so once it started transiting my career point, I had kind of forgotten about Neptune. But then I just started noticing this lack of motivation that I had. I just kind of feel like I'm like checked out. Um, and so I was like, okay, I gotta study my astrology a little bit more in depth to see what's going on. And then I noticed it and I embraced it. And then Neptune kind of moved away and it eased up, had just had all this energy and everything. And then recently I've just been like, I feel so checked out. I feel like I cannot get myself together. And again, I'm struggling with why am I always by myself? Now, I do a lot of socializing online. I told somebody the other day, online, I'm the most popular girl in the world. Online, I'm good. Um, but I'm not with people, I might see my neighbors, I might go to the grocery store or something like that, but I don't go anywhere for the most part and hang out with people. And so, I've just been kind of like, what is wrong with me, But then I looked at my transit and I just said, "You know what? When when Neptune is on that career point and that home point, um, first of all, you may find yourself alone quite a bit, you know? And then when it comes to career, you're gonna have to figure out how to work when you don't have a lot of motivation or when it feels kind of like you're just checked out, right? That's kinda how I feel right now, and I don't mean to be, but I just find myself kind of like doing the Pisces, I'm just spaced out. Time has passed, I haven't gotten a whole lot done. What the heck is going on? And so I have to begin to understand this is just where I am right now. I went in and looked at how long is this going to last? And I just started telling myself, okay, I got to get back on having a lot of timers and I found this new system that's going to help me to be more organized because it's like things are just it's like I'm almost like I'm not here because that's what Neptune does. The other thing about Neptune is it truly is so spiritual that I do feel like it's bringing in this spiritual connection where it's just kind of like, at the recording of this video, October 2023, it just, the world feels so chaotic. Things seem scary to me. It's I know what's the wars that are happening in other countries, devastating to witness and disturbing beyond. How these governments operate and, the oppression of people. I'm not on either side, but it is undeniable that Palestinians are being hurt. Like no, it is exponential. That's the word I saw somebody who is Israeli saying, exponentially, the, Israelis are being hurt more than excuse me, the Palestinians are being hurt more than the Israelis. I don't care about the governments, I do care about the people, the civilians that are being hurt on both sides. And it's so disturbing. I know all of that is going on, and it's just kind of like, what do I do? And I just keep feeling myself being drawn to this of I can't say I can't understand it, but I have a deep feeling in me that the great divine, I'm not gonna lie, let me just be 100 with you all. Yesterday, I saw this video and I didn't even watch the whole video. It was maybe like the first 20 seconds. This little kid in Palestine, you see all the bodies and he runs up. His whole family died except for him. This kid looked 7, 7 years old. And I thought, why would some great, mighty, powerful deity allow this to happen? And I said, I can see how when because I know somebody from Eastern Europe, he was like, I saw so much devastation it made me just say, "I don't know if I believe in a God." He's not gonna say he denies that there's one, but it just took, it just took, like, I can't believe there's a God. Why would a God let something like this happen? And I'm like, sometimes I just allow myself to think that. And then I just brought myself back to, you know what? Because of this transit that I'm having, all I can do is just go within and just commune with this infinite wisdom, is what I call it. I don't even really see the infinite, and see, even the way I'm talking right now is very Neptunian. I don't even really see this energy as like having a personality. I do believe that the inherent energy of it is this loving energy of abundance that will allow whatever experience we're creating here in the physical realm, it will allow it. But ultimately, it's a very infinite, not infinite, intelligent, powerful energy that because one of the things about Neptune is it's very subtle energy that it's kind of like, well, can you trust me? Because boo boo, if you look back in history, this has been happening for a long time. All right. And when I say boo boo, it's talking to me. And boo boo, look, let me explain something to you, child. You already know who all y'all really are. So we don't want all that drama. Come on, just come up in here and let's commune, be with the oneness of the universe to give me this energy of just feeling like I don't know how it's going to work out, but in some kind of way, this is where we are. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I supposed to do? Um so yeah, and then there's a lot going on here in the United States that has me very upset and concerned or whatever. And when I'm with this Neptune, I don't feel a need to take action. And I can be okay with that because so many of us, we're so action oriented. But when you're with Neptune, it's just like, you know what? I just have to go within. And so I just started turning on my Ho'oponopono. It's like this thing that's on loop, and getting deeper and deeper into prayer, and just getting deeper and deeper into what can I do to help bring some healing for those of us who, hear my voice or send it out into, the quantum field. What can I do? And so if I didn't know astrology, I think I would feel, I think I would feel a lot darker about what's happening. I would not be able to turn into, nope, that's not what you do with a Neptune transit. With a Neptune transit, you gotta the more beneficial manifestation of it, this is what you have to do. I've seen people with other transits like Pluto. That's a hardcore transit that lasts even longer than Neptune. When it's the beneficial transits, baby, we not asking nobody for a reading, okay? We're living our best life. But when it's the challenging readings, challenging transits, we asking, well, those of us who are into astrology, we are like, I got to get a reading today. The eclipses is another one that I see that really um, gives people a run for the money. Uranus, and Saturn. Jupiter can give you a run for the money. One of my astrology teachers talks about how people don't understand. Jupiter can be beneficial, but Jupiter can wreck you because it's just going to magnify whatever you're doing. And its transits are not as long, but they're kind of persistent sometimes, depending on how fast or slow Jupiter is moving. I'll say it that way. So I just want to encourage you to, like, I want to encourage you to get a reading. It is, if you have someone who knows astrology and you trust them, it is worth whatever money you think is too much money to pay for that reading. It is worth the money to get an understanding of what is happening so that you can best master that time. And yes, there are times when, you're going to be leaning on all the personality assessments and ways that people understand themselves personally. But when those transits hit, baby, some of those go out the they're out. It's no personality. Like you're not even yourself because they're so transformative and persistent. It's almost like I don't even have a choice but to change. That's the other thing I love about knowing astrology. Instead of resisting, you will go with the change even if you don't want it. That's what happened to me with the last set of eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio. And this is all combined with that Neptune energy. Just this time of me being a family woman, my whole identity just getting reset, rebooted. And if I didn't know what was going on, that would have been one of the most I probably would have been, I don't know, it would not have been good because it was hard enough. It was actually really hard. But the only reason I feel like I didn't cave is because I said, "You know what? I knew this was gonna be a hard time. I knew it was." And every opportunity that came my way for me to go in the direction that my soul, because that's how I see astrology, it helps you to understand what direction your soul is going in and to stay aligned with your destiny, to learn the lessons that you came here. Knowing it, I work with it. Not knowing it, we may work against it, and then it's just harder. So just make your life easier, sister. Make your life easier. Get the reading. Find out what is going on with you. And I hope that you can begin to learn enough, even if all you know is your sun, moon, and rising sign, or another way we say it is rising or ascendant sign, and continue to listen to astrologers for all three of those signs. That will be exceedingly helpful. But there does come a point where you have to pay that money to find out what is currently going on in your astrology so that you can make your life easier, you can rise to meet the occasion, and you know, oh, one of the things I was gonna say is, like, me as someone who has her own business, when you have a transit like Neptune, it's kind of like, "Okay, now I see what I need to do in my business," 'cause you can't do things the way you normally do when you have harder transits. You have to find a way. It's almost like a way to survive. After a while, it won't feel like survival. You'll just be used to the new way that you have to operate. And then one day it'll just pass on, but you'll be better for it. Okay. You'll be better for it. So, yes, of course, I am here. I did not make this to plug my readings, but I am going to say contact me if you need a reading. You can go to my website, goddessbodymindspirit.com. You can order a reading there. And you'll see whenever I put reading offers out, you can avail yourself to that. And if you don't get it from me, it doesn't bother me. Go get the reading, though, is what I'm saying. You really do need to pay the money and help yourself out. Last little bit, I cannot tell you how many people I have seen regret. Then they don't. Let me not say they regret it because they didn't know Mercury retrograde was happening. Some people knew Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, Mars retrograde was happening, and some people didn't know. And I'm like, how many people had something that was a very good idea, but they executed it with the wrong timing? Because that is what astrology is about. And I just look like, dang, if you knew astrology, you would have been able to avert this disaster. In the end, I don't believe astrology happens to us. I think everything happens for us and things will work out the way they're supposed to. But I just find life is easier when I work with the energy. It's kind of like if the weather people say it's going to be cold outside, it's going to be frigid, but we're not paying any attention to that. We decide we want to put on summer clothes, warm weather clothes, and go out into the outside. That's gonna be a really hard day. That's gonna be a very, very hard day. But those who listen to the weather forecaster and have on, clothes that keep them warm and have on hats and shoes and socks that are appropriate for that frigid weather, their day is gonna be easier because they're not struggling with the cold weather. They're warm and they're able to do whatever it is that they need to do. That is what astrology is. So, and telling you, yes, it is good to listen to astrologers on a regular basis, but at some point, your chart specifically needs to be looked at because the astrology of today may not be impacting your astrology very much. But there is a planet in your chart that is being greatly affected, but nobody can see it if they don't actually look at your chart and let you know. Okay. So thank you so much for listening, and let me know your thoughts. If anyone has experienced what I'm talking about, a rough transit, and you didn't know, and then one where you did know and the difference that it made, I would love to hear about that, or just anything that you can think of that you can kind of see how astrology, and if we have the ones out there with numerology, how is it with knowing the cycles that takes all of these systems to the next level? Or, the other systems are missing it, but ours have it. What is your experience with that? All right. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day. Peace and love.